Is this the mother of all store picks versus shelfers? Let's find out on the Whiskey Tank. Hi everyone, I'm Joe. Thank you for joining me today on the Whiskey Tank. If this is your first time here, welcome. I'm glad you stopped by. If you're a return viewer, thank you so much for supporting the channel. I really appreciate it more than you know. So today we're looking at Weller Foolproof. Weller Foolproof is just that, a foolproof version of Weller whiskey. It's bottled at 114 proof, which is the proof that they originally put the unaged spirit into the barrel. So that's what foolproof means. So they put it in there at 114. When they take it back out, whatever proof it's at, they'll add water to it to bring it back down to 114. Now I say, is this the mother of all store picks versus shelfers? Because it kind of is. Today I'm wearing a sweatshirt that is from the 1528th Forward Support Company, Special Forces Airborne. They are out of Martinsburg, West Virginia, and I got this shirt from a soldier in that unit who's a good friend of mine that I think kind of started this whole concept in my head. My buddy's name is Sam, and we were having a conversation after I picked up a bottle of store pick Weller. I happened to get this store pick Weller from Weller Foolproof from Old Orchard liquor store over in Hagerstown, Maryland. And so Sam and I were having a conversation about it after I picked it up, and he's like, you know what? I really prefer shelfers for Weller Foolproof over store picks. He said it was just blended better, it had a better overall taste and nose on it, and it's just something that he enjoyed more. So we had a nice conversation about that, and that kind of led me to thinking, well, what's the difference really with store picks versus shelfers? So this ultimately was the one that started my brain kind of processing. Is there really a difference? What's the difference? Is there a better? Is there a worse? What's the whole concept behind it? So that's why I say that. So Sam, dedicating this episode to you because you kind of made this happen in my brain and led me down this path of trying to do episodes to see which one's better, store pick versus shelfers. Let's see if your theory holds up on this one. So let's talk about these bottles that I have in front of me. We've got Weller Foolproof, the only non-chilled filter option from Weller that's available on the shelf. The Old Weller Antique, the OWAs at 107 proof, the red label bottles, they do those non-chilled filters for store picks, but this is the only one that you get every day as a shelfer that's non-chilled filtered. And that's kind of the reason why it's there. The OWAs, Weller started releasing that out as a non-chilled filtered version for store picks, and people loved them and they wanted more of those. So in 2019, Weller introduced the Foolproof. Bottles that they have in the Weller lineup, of course, is the WLW with the William LaRue Weller, which is the father of all these. That one is barrel entry proof is 114. That's part of their BTAC lineup. Then you have the Weller Special Reserve, which is the green labeled bottle. That one's at 90 proof. Then you've got the Weller 12 year, which is the only age stated Weller that they have. That one is also, that's a black label bottle, and that one's also at 90 proof. Then you have the CYPB, or the Crafter Perfect Bourbon, which is bottled at 95 proof. And then you've got the Weller Single Barrels, which is bottled at 97 proof. OWA, or Old Weller Antique, which is the red label bottles, which is the favorite of a lot of people, and that one's bottled at 107, which happens to be the same proof point as Old Rip. So 107 is a very popular proof point too. These are wheated bourbons, which means the second most prevalent grain in the mash bill is going to be wheat. It's just an interesting polarizing brand, and this bottle that we have today is very polarized in that fact too. What I did was I asked my wife to come in after I poured both glasses, filled them to an equal amount, and I put them on the upside down black marker that they're sitting on right now. Originally, these colored Glencairn covers were not on the glasses. I asked her to mix them around while I walked out of the room and put a colored Glen on top of each one with no orientation to what that which glass that she put those colors on. Just so that I would have a way to differentiate them when I talk to you guys. So she's mixed them up. The reason why I changed it up is I wanted to get more into what's in the glass and less time spent on having the glasses spin around on a spinner in front of me and me put on and off a blindfold. I will put up on the screen which one I'm drinking at the time that I'm drinking it, so you'll know what's in the glass and I don't. And then when we're done, I'll take a look at what the marker says is underneath, and just so you know that the shelfer is marked A on the marker and the store pick is marked B on the marker. So we'll be able to tell once I go through the trying of these glasses to see which one I prefer. I'll hold it up and I'll find out which glass I've been drinking and which one I chose. So I hope that makes sense and I didn't make that too long and drawn out, but let's get to drinking the whiskey. I'm going to try the one with the tan colored marker on it first, which is the glass to my right. And I'm going to get in and try the nose. Okay, so I get a lot of the classic bourbon smells out of this glass. I'm getting a little bit of vanilla, some caramel, a little hint of oak, but not much. It's not something that's really hitting me. But what I am getting out of this glass is I'm getting apples, right? So it's like not sweet apples, but it's a pleasant apple smell. I get that sometimes when I smell products that's in Buffalo Trace's mash bill too, which is you know, like Bland's, John J. Bowman, Rock Hill Farms. I'll get apples, and that's kind of what I'm getting out of this glass today. So it's got a very pleasant nose. I really like it. There might even be a little hint of cherry in there too. Let's move on to glass 2, and I'm going to smell my arm here to just kind of refresh my nose. If you don't know this trick, I've pointed out a couple times, but if you smell your own skin, sometimes it helps kind of clear your nose and reset. It's like Control Alt deleting your nose. And again, what a cool sweatshirt, huh? 15/28. Cheers to them. This is a completely different nose. Okay, so I'm getting some darker smells out of this glass. I can definitely smell there's more oak influence on this. But I'm getting, it's almost like a mapley or a burnt sugar. Maybe even like almost like a molasses nose. I'm not really used to getting this kind of nose off from a Weller product. I get definitely some of that vanilla in here too. I'm getting oak on this and dark sugars. That's an interesting nose. So it's kind of a toss-up for me as far as the nose. I almost prefer the nose on the tan-colored marker a little bit better because I like the apple in there. It reminds me like of an Irish whiskey, and so I'm getting that off from this glass, where this one's much darker, but there's almost like a burnt smell to it. So it smells like it just might have went over just a touch, but it's still, I mean, a great nose, very interesting nose on that. So let's go ahead and try what's in glass 1 here, or I guess tan glass, the first glass I tried. Cheers. There's not a lot of ethanol, but there's a lot of sugary sweetness. And that apple does cross over into the palate that this glass had. but it brings that vanilla, and it brings like a real sweet taste with it, sugary sweet. Yeah, it's an interesting palate. The mouthfeel is excellent. That proof point offers enough viscosity in the whiskey to coat my mouth nicely. There's nothing in there I don't like. Yeah, it's all good. And there is like a slight hint of cherry in there too, that I'm getting more on the finish than on the palate. It's interesting. That's a good glass of whiskey. All right, let's try what's in the green colored Glencairn cover. The oak influence on this glass is much more well pronounced. I get some of those oak flavors, sweet oak, but there's just a touch of bitter in there. I'm not sure what causes that in whiskey, but the sides of my mouth, my cheeks, are getting some of that bitter taste, and I can only associate that to the wood. It's got beautiful caramel colors. It's got beautiful caramel flavors in it that come across. I'm not getting any fruit that I can pick up, but I am getting a little touch of vanilla in there. Almost like maybe a toffee with it, and there's a slight grassiness too, something herbal in there, and it could be the wheat, obviously, because it's a weeded bourbon, but there's something herbal in there. So a caramel toffee type flavor, definite oak, slight bitterness from that, and some grassy flavors. And so that's what I'm getting. Okay, drying too. So on the finish, it's got a drying effect that I get sometimes from older whiskey, and so that could be a good indication it's got a little bit of age on it, because I'm getting that from this glass, the second glass with the green cover, a little bit of that drying nature. So I'm not going to drag this out. I have a clear preference for one over the other, and that's going to be the one with the tan Glencairn cover. Now you guys already know what it is. I don't know yet, but the reason why I chose the glass with the tan Glencairn cover is it's got that apple influence, which I really like. Maybe it's just me, but it brings me back to when I first got into drinking whiskey and was into Irish whiskeys, which I love, and you can see some of those right over here on the shelf. I love Redbreast, the Spots. A lot of those Irish whiskeys have that kind of bright green apple flavor to it, and I got that out of this. It's got a great viscosity to it, a great finish. The flavors carry over from the nose to the palate to me and carry on through the finish, which tells me it's really well balanced. The glass, or the whiskey in the green covered or colored Glen, is fantastic too. Listen, there's no real loser here with Weller Full Proof. With this one though, I just got a lot of oak influence that just was a little bit bitter for me, and I didn't get a lot of the fruit flavors that I really enjoy. But maybe on another day, this one might carry the swing for me, depending on what I was into. This one is definitely darker. It had a strong toffee or caramel flavor that went there, but there was just like a little burnt touch to it, which may have caused some bitterness just on the finish, and it had a little drying effect too on the finish for me. So I mean, that could just indicate that it might be an older whiskey. It's fantastic either way, but let's find out. Let me find out what I've been drinking. You guys already know. Okay, so the Shelfer is the one that I picked today. It's got that classic Weller taste. It's everything that I like in a Weller. It's right there. It's a great pour of whiskey, and you know it, I know it. But the store pick today came up just a little bit short, and maybe on another day it would come out on top. But for today, there was just a little bit of bitterness and a little mouth drying effect that I just wasn't feeling today. So thank you so much for stopping by and checking out the video today. I really appreciate you coming over and supporting the channel. If you haven't yet, please like, share, subscribe, do all those wonderful things that helps this channel grow, gets more eyes on it. The more people that are watching, you know how the algorithm works for YouTube. The more people that are already watching and signed up to watch it and get notifications, then I'll share my video more when people do searches. So I appreciate you doing all those things. But until next time, I'm going to finish these 2 amazing glasses of whiskey, and cheers from the whiskey tank.